And it was actually because of this game that I became a history major. And I didn't really need to study a lot. I pretty much just wrote essays about my experiences from the game.
That makes sense to me. It's exactly what just about every history major does.
They just
And
reference the video games that they played as a child.
yeah.
Because, you know, video games are 110% accurate.
Well, I'm impressed that as a history major you were able to find employment.
I don't think anyone can actually see what I'm doing right now, so... Oh, come on! This game is hard.
Just like history, you died.
Yep.
They had multiple lives in this game? I don't...
See, back in the 1930s, just pop posters of Hitler were everywhere. And you couldn't go more than 10 feet without seeing them.
That's
There's the
pre-Warhol.
outside. This guy's like, how did you get in here? And I just shot him in the face.
So this is this game was, or this era was pre-Warhol. I'm impressed.
Ah, what are you doing here? And then I just shoot him in the face.
So
I love the death animations because they're just so brutal. Like, the bullet must have hit him like a speeding train to send his head flying. Say, are there any secrets in here? Let's just go against the wall, pressing space.
So this is QA training right here.
God, how did anyone play this without getting sick back in the day? Oh, there's some blood on the wall. Aha!
Has anybody done a VR version of this yet?
I think this is the VR version.
Ooh.
This is about as virtual reality as you can get. This is actually like the game equivalent of the old Windows Maze screensaver. It's just got a little bit of extra mechanics to it. This guy doesn't know what's about to happen. He was walking away after I shot him.
Good AI.
I mean, this isn't even from me. So like, there's already bad stuff happening in this castle.
Was that like a rat or something?
I don't know. It seems like somebody accidentally put a ground decal on the wall. I'm lost. I am so lost. I don't remember if there's a map function in this game.
All right. So, place your bets on how long Phil's going to play Wolfenstein 3D.
Apparently, I'm trapped like a rat, so it's going to be a while, folks. So, Lee, why are we streaming today?
Oh, because it's Friday.
Because
We
it's
stream
Friday.
every Friday.
All
right.
Our comedy stylings.
Lol.
All right, so please ignore the Nazi imagery as Lee talks about our games.
Sure. So if you don't know who we are, I'm Lee Gill. I'm the marketing and PR guy over here at Beamdog. This is Phil Daigle. He's our studio director. Normally, Trent is in this chair, but he's off on vacation. Oh, good job.
The SS got me, but I'm back, baby. All right, I'll stop.
Just like the real life. All right. So here's the latest news. So we are going to PAX. You may have seen this on previous live streams and now across all our social channels. We'll be doing a panel on Saturday the 1st at 1 p.m. PT. It'll be an hour long. There are 600 seats in the theater, so make sure you go there and be there because we'll be handing out some stuff, making some announcements, and we'll also be streaming it on PAX 2, on Beamdog, and maybe a couple other places. So be sure to tune in for the latest on that front. We'll also be at Edmonton Expo, so make sure you come by our booth. We'll be doing little songs and dances. Actually, we won't be singing or dancing, so that's an even better reason to not come by. This is actually how he does his job all day. Just stuff floats in the background.
This is an employee review right now. Like, I just sit there and I let them talk through whatever's going through their mind, and I give them this sort of half-concerned, half-stern glance. Or stare, I suppose.
Yeah. In internal news, we're doing employee reviews, and we'll be doing them on live stream. So be sure to tune in for that.
This year, employee reviews are a bit different. Everyone just reviews their manager. So it's just a long list of report cards for me and how I'm terrible at everything that I do.
It's true.
It's very true. Yes.
All right. Moving on from Edmonton Expo. Actually, let's not move on from Edmonton Expo. I want to see anybody who's local there because we're going to be doing some contests. I want to do some surveys. We might be showing off some new stuff. Basically, I just love meeting local fans. So I will see you Edmonton Expo. I believe that's the 21st to the 23rd of September. I could be wrong. I frequently am. That's how it is. All right. Speaking of contests, Newsletter signups. We've been getting you to sign up for newsletters, and that's awesome. So many people, so many of you have. And so we're going to run a contest that's for everybody who's signed up and everybody who signs up in the next couple of weeks. So you may have remember our community portrait winner that we did for the Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition launch. If you want to bring that up on screen there.
Well, very briefly here, if you do want to sign up for the newsletter, you can go here, www.beamdog.com/newsletter sign up. Don't forget the www, that stands for World Wide Web. It's not on Gopher. This isn't an FTP site.
Oh man, we're losing out on all those.
Please visit this page with a web browser. You might have NCSA Mosaic. That's a popular one. All right, so going on, the portrait that somebody won.
Yes, so take a look at this portrait. If you want something like that, make sure to sign up for our newsletter. Just going to say right now it's about a 1 in 6,000 chance, but hey, doesn't cost you anything.
I could put my finger on the scales. You know, I'm easily corruptible. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you bribe me, I will like severely break the rules for you.
Fun fact, that's how I got my job here.
Yeah.
20 bucks.
Just under the table, and it was during the interview, and everyone noticed, and they were like, "I should say something, but maybe I'll get some graft of my own later."
Yeah, and I mean, like, they didn't ask. I never followed up.
So, fine whiskeys, expensive cigars. Really, we're taking delivery of anything here, and if you want a portrait, and you don't want to have to risk, you know, a draw, just send me some free stuff.
So the other fun thing about this is we are putting all these portraits into the enhanced editions of our games.
That's
minus
right.
Planescape, because we don't want to add anything to Planescape.
Actually, Lee, I've decided, and this is the first time that we're going to be announcing this. We're going to add custom character creation to Planescape, because, you know, the Nameless One story isn't terribly interesting. So I think what we'll do is we'll just take the Planescape city, Sigil, and we'll just turn it into a little expansion dungeon for Baldur's Gate. You create your own character, and you just kind of roll through Sigil until the Lady of Pain comes and murks you. And yeah, I think that's a fair thing to add, and you will see that in the tomorrow patch that we're putting out for Planescape. These are all lies.
This is not
I'm
happening,
sorry.
Phil. You're making my life very difficult.
Yeah.
If you are media and watching this and reporting on this, it's all lies. It's not happening.
Why don't you want to add custom character support to Planescape, Lee? Why would that be such a big deal?
Because I'm pretty sure that there's a group out there that would just pipe bomb this office.
Maybe. Yeah. But there's another group who wouldn't pipe bomb the office, and they're the group that I think would really appreciate this.
That's fair, but no.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing this.
Right.
Not now,
not
ever.
That's true.
All right.
Just a brief aside, Steve, if you're watching this, stop calling my phone. I know what you're doing. Just trying to distract me.
All right. We are hiring. We're continuing to hire. So we're looking for great local talent. We're looking for people across Canada.
That's right.
Yep. So if you're Canadian and you're looking for a job, make sure to check out beamdog.com/careers for all our current postings. There may be some more in the near future. I don't know. We'll see. We're always looking for talent. We're looking for good people.
Well, we are moving to that fancy new office that we mentioned on the previous stream, which incidentally is the old BioWare office.
That's true.
It's above the Chapters bookstore on White Avenue here in Edmonton. And many, many years ago, I think up until... It was right after BG or right after Neverwinter that they moved to the south side.
Right.
BioWare's over by the Radisson Hotel in Edmonton now.
But they're moving again.
And they're moving again. After Anthem ships, I believe at the end of next year, they're going to be moving downtown to a newer digs, I guess. So enjoy.
So in 5 to 10 years, we'll be moving again to the Southside location where BioWare was, assuming they don't tear that building down.
Knee deep in Dragon Age Enhanced Edition at the time.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, we'll be releasing that on PS6.
But it's already enhanced. It's 3D. You can't get any more enhanced than 3D.
It'll be shiny.
That's true.
Yeah,
we'll add all new effects. There you go.
So in other Beamdog news, we've already talked about the newsletter contest. So this is another reminder to sign up. you could win that portrait. I want to see you as that portrait. Yes, you.
Your obsession with this newsletter is getting out of hand, and I think people are starting to notice.
Yeah, and it's not at all what my employee reviews graded on.
Wow.
Not at all.
Wow. Oh, I see how it is. He's right, though. It is directly correlated to how many people sign up to the newsletter. So, I mean, if you want Lee to die in a debtor's prison, don't sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah.
But if you want him to, scrape by for a few more years before finally succumbing,
he's got like
please
4 or
do
5
sign up
debtors
for the
prisons
newsletter.
picked out. He like just scrolls through them. There's
That-
like an Airbnb service for it. It's kind of gross.
The debtor's prison is one of Trent's favorite insults that somebody levied against him, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago. They were displeased with something he was doing with Baldur's Gate or something, and they're like, I hope he dies in a debtor's prison. And I'm like, damn, that's a throwback insult to like the 8th or the 19th century. That's pretty slick, man.
Yeah,
Good for you.
We'd even have to export him from the country.
I don't think we have debtors prisons
not
here.
in Canada.
Yeah, you
Not in
can
Canada.
be like, no, I'm not paying you back, and there's literally nothing that anyone can ever do to you ever.
Wolf.
So if you have a credit card, that's free money, baby. You just run that till up, and you don't pay it back. Nothing they can do. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Are they gonna take your car?
Yeah. Come to
Come
Beamdog live streams for financial advice, and it will ruin your life.
And here's another thing: mattresses, way better of an investment vehicle than you think. They don't go anywhere. In the event of a house fire, all your money's right there. You could take it with you.
Yep. And this is how you're gonna die. Trying to carry your mattress out of a house fire.
I'm looking out for these guys because I feel like they shouldn't be parted with their money. They should hold on to it.
Before we move on to talk about 2.5, because that's your favorite topic,
It is
let's answer
actually.
a couple of questions from the live stream.
Question number 1: when is 2.5 coming?
Let's skip that and go to the next one. Arcanum EE, when?
There's a folder on my desktop called Arcanum Enhanced Edition,
It's a lie. There's nothing in there. It is a
but you
complete
want
lie.
to bet? Check out this this desktop here. I guess you can't see it. Anyways, Arcanum Enhanced Edition is probably not coming anytime soon because we're not making it.
That's
and I
correct.
know that you want it, but I feel as if now it's become more of a joke, and you don't actually want it.
I think
so
there's like 4 very vocal people out there who want it.
4 very vocal people. Well,
4
if you
of them.
can convince 4,000 of your friends to buy Arcanum EE,
I
well, then
think
maybe
you
we'll
need
come
to add
back.
another 0 to
If
that.
you can convince 40,000 of your friends, who am I kidding? No one who plays Arcanum has 40,000 friends. See, I could have been meaner and said like a much lower number, but I played it safe there.
All
You can
right.
tell.
The next number I see.
Let's skip some questions and talk about 2.5 because our
Alright.
question list is offline right now.
Sounds good.
2.5, where is it, Phil? What the hell? The question is what's left to do, and it's pretty much one ticket. Icewind Dale is ready to go. Baldur's Gate, ready to go. Siege of Dragonspear, ready to go. Except there's one flippin' issue that we're trying to resolve. It's a multiplayer ticket. We think we've got a fix for it. It's going in, and 2.5 is coming out next week. I know I've said that many times
You've
over.
said that a couple of times.
But now we have built builds, we have smoked builds, and they're looking good. They're uploaded, they've been tested. And I think in a little bit we're going to be showing off Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition 2.5, the final version of 2.5, because Trent's not here, and I'm going to reveal that sweet feature that he's been stopping me from revealing
I've
for a
been
while.
working on Phil to get this out there.
That's right.
It's
That's
going to
right.
be one of us is going to be blamed for this,
Yeah.
and we'll see what the repercussions are.
Well, I mean, I'll just blame you.
Yeah,
It's not like he has video evidence
Yeah,
that... yeah, so I'll show you guys Icewind Dale in a couple of minutes here.
All right.
So we'll do BG, we'll do Siege, and we'll do Icewind. All 3 of them are looking good. They're smoked, as I said. They're ready to go. Yeah, so that'll hopefully be a really nice patch that's very stable for you guys. And then once 2.5 is out, then we're going to run off to the Mac App Store, update that. So if you bought it on Mac App Store and you're like, hey man, it's still on 1.4, I'm going to come over there and kick you in the junk. I'm sorry, we're fixing that. There you go.
Yes.
And then as well, all the other platforms to get it, so GOG, Steam, everywhere.
Yep.
And then after 2.5, this is a big question mark for people. So a little bit of internal Beamdog news. We hired a new guy. His name's Luke Rideout. He came over from Halifax, which is a Canadian province, for those of you who are unaware, on the east coast. This is east. I'm pointing east. Wait.
No,
That's what?
that's south.
East, west, south, north, up, top watt. We hired a guy
Top
named Luke Rideout,
Yep.
and he's taken over the Infinity Engine stuff for me. And he is coming up with all sorts of interesting plans and schemes for what he'd like to see in the next upcoming patch. Now, 2.6 is kind of the next thing, obviously. Not coming anytime soon. This is going to be quite a ways out. But that being said, 2.6 isn't going to be the only thing that we do with IE. So between 2.5 and 2.6, we can actually start pushing out localization updates a lot more quicker.
Right.
In the past, we would have to get a bunch of languages ready. They're looking good, ready to go, and then they would have to sit for like 6 or 8 months or a year while we wait to push out a big monolithic patch. So now we're in a much better position where we can push out these smaller loc updates. So as languages come online, we're able to push it out the door. So that's exciting. Another big focus in the future is going to be performance issues. So right now, you may have noticed that Baldur's Gate on older tablets does not run super well because, hey, it's a 2D game throwing loads of sprites around and all kinds of effects. And it turns out that's very taxing on the iPad GPU. So there's some tweaks and improvements that we can make. So a focus in the next patch will likely be performance. We have some plans around that in the near future. What else are we doing?
I see store updates.
Store updates. Well, that's of course the GOG and the Mac App Store stuff like that. Collector's editions. What's that about? What does that say?
You tell me.
Sorry, I have something in my throat. I can't. Collector's edition. 20th anniversary.
Subtle.
I'm sorry. That was rude of me. I shouldn't cough into a microphone. That's disgusting.
Somebody remix that and send it back to us. I will send you a t-shirt.
I'll stop being coy. We've talked about this on previous streams. This isn't a big secret. We're actively investigating doing a 20th anniversary collector's edition for BG because it's the 20th anniversary this year.
Yes, it is in December.
Yeah. But the difference, the big difference between this collector's edition and the Siege of Dragonspear collector's edition is that it won't take a year to ship out to people when we're ready.
That's the goal.
So essentially what we're doing is we're working with partners right now to develop the look, what's in the box, the cool stuff about it, and we will have more news on that front soon. But essentially we will not be taking orders for this product until we're absolutely ready, so you might not see it or hear about it for quite some time. But we're working on it, and we know that you want it, and I want to give it to you guys because I feel like everyone should own a big old battle chest that weighs down their shelf and then collapses it or something like that.
And you can stack it on top of your mattress as you're carrying both out of your apartment fire. See that? Callbacks.
Brief aside here. So our streaming box is a Windows machine, and one of the monitors faces us so that we can see it. And I'm really impressed at how badly Windows is falling all over itself right now. Like application after application is crashing. It keeps putting itself to sleep. It tried updating itself briefly. Windows 10 is just beautiful. You didn't cock it up.
You know what I'm impressed by? I'm impressed by Andrew, who's our replacement Dan this week.
That's
His
right.
ability to just
Recover from massive system failures effortlessly with no one knowing. You guys had no idea that a small fire broke out behind the camera.
This desk, and you had no idea.
He learned sign language specifically so that he wouldn't interrupt the stream. Like that's dedication.
What's impressive is he learned this without knowing that neither of us understand it. We're just sort of smiling and nodding.
He also learned how to freestyle rap, which wasn't really necessary for the stream, but I appreciated it. I feel like it was for me.
And he does a great Bob Ross impression.
Oh, that's
so
true.
We're going to just get him on stream.
True. Yeah.
The look he's giving us.
I feel so bad for Andrew, and I feel bad for Dan because we abuse these people so much. We should do a special stream one of these days where it's just Andrew and Dan, and then I'll run the stream equipment. Yeah. And there'll be like flashing GIFs and like a little marquee along the bottom saying, "This is what Andrew actually believes."
This is fine.
Yeah.
Nothing will be on fire.
Let's give away a T-shirt because I'm sure people are tired of us testing their patience.
How about that Niv guy? Does he have a T-shirt yet?
Probably a few.
Yeah, he doesn't get any too more T-shirts. Okay, how about Okitado?
Okitado.
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 Okay, Atado. Okay, Okay, adu.
One of those people is getting a T-shirt. Make sure you get in touch with somebody in the chat. Sarah, maybe? Niv? I don't know. One of you people.
Somebody. Let's send Niv another shirt. I feel like he wants more shirts. Niv, do you want another shirt?
Does it have to be a Beamdog shirt? Because there's a thrift store down the street.
There is a thrift store down the street.
Sounds like
we should really do like a roving stream one day where we go up and down White and showcase all the stuff. Like downstairs, the S&M chocolate statue.
Oh.
We've talked about this on stream in the past, but I'm not kidding. Like, there's a chocolatier beneath us who has a mannequin on all four. Like, this is their main, like, big window advertising. Please come in and purchase my goods. It's a mannequin on all fours, like, on the ground, painted entirely brown and then, like, covered in chocolate, so that it's basically like some sort of chocolate demon emerging from a pool of more chocolate.
It is the Chalky Monkless, and it haunts the halls at night.
I think it's super cool, and I'm pretty sure it scares the living hell out of people because he hasn't had a broken window down there since the opening.
If it ever breaks, it's breaking from the inside.
That's right. It wants out. It wants to get us. All right, Neverwinter Nights. Actually, no. Let's showcase. Here, we're gonna. Well, the hand of Andrew is gonna show you this thing.
All right, so it's coming down.
Here we go. Here we go.
Cover your eyes. Cover your eyes. Oh, and there it is.
Children, look away.
All right. Before we jump into Neverwinter Nights, maybe we should show off this thing in Icewind Dale before you change your mind.
Or Trent bursts in through the door, racing back from BC.
Yeah, it's Kool-Aid Man style.
So Christian has very graciously prepared a save. I'm not sure which one it is.
I think it's that one right there.
Save for Phil. Pick this one. Does she want me to start a new game?
She's over there.
I don't understand.
Just holding her hair like this.
I am but a simple man.
All right.
Hey, look at this.
That's pretty dark.
This is just Icewind Dale. What's the big deal?
Oh, and she even prepped your character for you.
Look at that.
It's
I
like
don't know where to go. Where are the bad guys? Are they here?
All right.
Do I go? Oh, maybe I should go in here. There's a door.
Maybe you should cast a spell.
So for those who are unaware, this is Kreslak's tomb. He's dead, but he's a good guy.
It might be strange if you had a tomb before you're dead.
She named them Jimothy Rando. Yeah. She really does know me. Hey, guys. All right, so what's this new feature that we're talking about? Well, so as you may recall, playing Baldur's Gate, sometimes you'd be like, hey, I want to cast Fireball, but I want to be very precise about it, and it's hard to do. But now you can actually see the exact circle radius of where it will hit. So this is a beta feature that's only going to be in Icewind Dale. You have to access it through a Lua config because it's not ready for prime time yet. It wasn't terribly difficult to add. It was just something that no one had looked into for a long time. But basically, boom. Let's throw this fireball down.
So when this I
could guess it.
When this does come out, we'll include instructions on how to enable this feature. It's a simple Lua change. This is only coming out for Icewind Dale in 2.5, just as a test prototype type feature. We'll want your feedback, so if you have any thoughts on it, don't die like Phil.
I didn't actually die. I have 1 hit point left.
Come on, man, you're going to die.
And if I use magic...
Make sure you let us know what you think of it in... on social media, so that's Facebook and Twitter. Post your thoughts in the forums. This is a prototype feature, so yes, it's going to look like it does here.
Look at how precise I can be. Watch this.
So
look at a little more right there. Let's see.
And it is desktop only, so this is not coming out.
Oh, right on the edge.
Da.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all we have to say about that. But it's something new. It's something cool. We hope you enjoy it. I think it'll be fun. Cool.
He said it. All right, Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition. What's going on with that?
Sure. I don't know.
Tell me what the story is, Lee.
What's
going on? What's the deal?
It's a night. It is Neverwinter and enhanced.
That's true. So we haven't put out a patch in a little while. Why is that?
Hey, Niv, you tell us.
It's not Niv's fault. It's my fault.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get GOG support out the door. So GOG support is coming very soon. We've incorporated Galaxy support. It's in testing right now. There's a few loose ends to tie up there, but we're getting very, very close. GOG is doing some setup on their end. So the way it's going to work is basically the way it works with the Diamond Edition on GOG. You're going to get a key separately from the game that you'll have to insert. Now, the Enhanced Edition for Neverwinter is a little bit nicer about that key. It has a little prompt to put it in rather than having to go digging through a config file. But yeah, that's how it'll work on there. Apparently, GOG Galaxy at present, but this could be coming in the future, does not support inserting files directly into the config. in the way that the Beamdog client and Steam can do. So we can't automatically inject your key as we were hoping, but eventually GOG Galaxy will support that feature, and then we can implement it.
So for everybody who's been asking us, what about GOG? What about GOG? There's the news. Coming soon. Confirmed.
There you go. I think I said that in previous streams,
Well,
but now we've got tickets. They're being worked on.
This is more definitive.
That's true. Yeah, I've seen things get checked in, so it's coming soon. So the plan is we're going to push out an update, and that's going to be the update that gets the game onto GOG, and then we'll have another stable build after that one. Now the build that's coming up in the near future is going to have, I believe, the first version of NW Sync. I could be wrong. Someone in the chat can scream at me if that's the wrong cadence. But we're getting real close.
Yeah, if it's not in this build, it will be soon.
Yeah.
I spot an Exonova in the chat, the portrait winner from our Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition contest. So I know that she was absolutely thrilled to see that portrait, and I think that we should take that portrait and put it into our other titles.
We should. We should put it in all
It's
our
currently
games.
only in Neverwinter Nights, but we should put it into the Infinity Engine titles.
Very conveniently, those games use very similar portrait formats, so we should throw everything on there.
There we go. Cool. Let's take, actually, before we jump into the Trello here, let's knock off a couple of these fan questions.
And Niv has confirmed that, yeah, we're going to go to GOG, and then we're going to throw NW Sync into the dev branch after that. Very exciting stuff. For those of you who are unaware, NW Sync is that feature where you connect to a multiplayer server and it automatically downloads the hack packs and module files that you need, so that you don't have to get everything prepped, then connect. You can just idly browse the list of servers and be like, hey, Sinfar, that looks like fun. I'm going to go, whoa. Sinfar probably will still require a little bit of extra work. I didn't say that on stream.
Yes, he did. All right, so before we jump into anything more about that or Sinfar, let's answer this, which is probably not important to any of you, but is desperately important to everybody in the office. Phil, who is the coolest guy working, or gal, working at Beamdog?
How do you define cool?
I don't know. This
like
is subjective.
Physically their temperature is reduced?
Sure.
I would say that it's Elise then, because she's always got the shawl on because her office is so freezing cold. Now, if it's who is the most socially engaging and exciting person, well, I mean, I don't know who that would be, but somebody at the office surely is the coolest, but I'm a poor person to judge who that is. Is it Yuli? Are you the coolest guy in the office?
Yes, because my hair.
There you go.
Newscaster
Your perfect blonde hair that I don't cut locks off when you're not paying attention.
It's happened in the past. He's
hovering over you at night with scissors.
Yep. He's making a sweater.
It was for the hair, Lee. All right. What about achievements for Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition?
Let me handle this one. I'll ask Phil.
We're working on it. I have a ticket in the big old bucket of tickets to start looking at how we're going to implement that. So the fear for a long time was that if we crack open the original campaigns and then add achievements and then package them back out, we might cause some issues. That fear has been removed with some fixes that we've done. So we're going to start looking into it. Where and when they get released is to be determined because we haven't built them yet, but it's on the list and I'd like to get it looked at sooner rather than later.
All right. The next one is about Dragon Con in Atlanta. Unfortunately, we're not going to be there this year, maybe years in the future. We're going to PAX West this year, so there's a bit of conflict. I don't have the budget to send 2 teams out, unfortunately. One cool thing about the Dragon Con in Atlanta is that Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition is up for an award at Dragon Con.
Really? What award?
It's for Best Sci-Fi or Fantasy Mobile Game. So
that's a broad category.
There's only like 4 or 5 candidates there. So
okay, all right. Fair enough.
Yeah, so if you are at Dragon Con and you feel like voting for an award, make sure you vote for us. I would love to see Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition win something because the team here put a lot of effort in, and it's a fantastic port.
We brought Chris Avalone here to stream with us. We deserve an award for hanging out with Chris. He's a cool guy.
I don't know if anybody deserves an award for that because hanging out with Chris is
like an achievement.
Award. It's an award on its own.
I got a little tattoo. He signed my chest. He's like, he did one of his little stick men.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that I turned into a tattoo. He just knows that he drew on my bare chest. It wasn't weird.
I don't know if that happened. It might have happened.
Is he joking?
There were drinks. Drinks happened. All right. DRM free version when? Assuming this is a GOG question.
Yeah, you're getting 2 versions on GOG. You're getting the classic DRM-free package and then the Galaxy version. I don't actually remember if Galaxy applies DRM, but either way, there should be a version on GOG that is just a package that you can grab.
Right.
That being said, Neverwinter, by its very nature, has some DRM in that it has CD keys for controlling multiplayer. I mean, you can argue that that's not DRM, and it's probably not, but it is a minor restriction. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, something we can't get around.
Yeah.
Do you want to announce do another question, announce another T-shirt winner, or do Trello?
Let's do all of those things.
All of these things
So
at the same
1,
time.
pick a winner. 2, let's answer your question while a winner's being picked.
Okay. How about the reels words cools? I don't know. Why would you pick that username?
It's the Reels Workules. Why is this hard for you? This is such a trivially easy name to pronounce. The Reels Workules. Why is it like the Reels Workules? Okay. I'm so good at pronouncing names.
And that's why you do the VO booth stuff.
That's right. That's right.
That's
because
right.
I know the names of everyone.
The names. He knows the true names of all creatures.
All right.
Big and small.
Question. As someone who plays single player only, and with hopefully custom classes and races soon, will there be a restructuring of the override folder so we can have multiple class mods without having to manually edit classes/races.2da to make them compatible? That's a big old question that I don't have an answer for right now. So will there be a restructuring so that you can have overall? That's a tricky one. I think when NW Sync drops, we're going to be discovering a lot of features like that we have to add, especially when we stop hard coding a lot of the classes and race stuff. I don't have an exact answer for you, but that zone of influence is something that I would like to make better and more moddable, so perhaps you will get your wish, but I can't say yes or no right now.
All right, let's do 2 more of these questions, then pop over to the Trello. All right, so it's been about a year and a half, or no, half a year since the EE was released. I'm assuming this is Neverwinter. Any news about putting back environmental audio settings?
Oh, I think this is the EAX stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact rationale behind why it was removed, but it had something to do with us changing our sound engine and those features not necessarily being supported anymore.
Right.
EAX, I'm completely speaking out of turn here because this is all from my terrible spotty memory, but yeah, going from Miles to OpenAL, the EAX features are gone. And I think, I don't know what kind of EAX support modern sound chips have. We'll have to look into it though.
Right.
If there's a demand for bringing back the environmental effects, I mean, we might be able to emulate them inside of OpenAL or something. I don't know what kind of feature set that provides, but let's make a ticket and we'll look at it eventually.
All right. There's another question here. Does the Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition engine allow to make some visual effects like bark skin or stone skin less intrusive? Apparently they're very ugly.
Yeah, you'll be able to, or even now you should be able to swap that out with a new shader. And make something much, much nicer.
That sounds like a great thing to throw in Steam Workshop.
So for those of you in the know, and for those of you who are not in the know, we're working on new player models for Neverwinter Nights. We've showcased Erebus de Tilmarand, I think is her full name. And of course, the new human male and a few extra armors. Those new models will obviously need better effects and whatnot, so bark skin is going to look quite different on those guys.
Right. And that's Ossian Studios working on that. We're
That's
working
right.
with Alan Miranda's team. You may have seen them in previous streams. They're doing excellent work. I'm
That's
excited
right.
to see what they send us.
Darkness over Daggerford is that whole crew. The recent module that was released, premium module, I should say. Yeah, Alan's, he was on the stream a couple streams ago, and he worked in the original Neverwinter Nights. He's an old hand at this sort of stuff, and he does this true and deep love of RPGs, especially D&D RPGs, that is hard to match. I've never seen anyone that just in love with the franchise.
All right, so let's pop over to the Trello here, if you want to bring up the screen.
Okay.
All right.
What are we looking at?
I don't know. You tell me. What are we moving around?
I didn't prep for this. It's Friday, man. I'm drunk.
It's true. It's like a 3
right.
drink minimum.
Well, let's look at the short-term active here. So make hacks and TLKs easier to download for persistent worlds. That's happening. That is NW Sync, as we were talking about earlier. 64-bit support. So, fun story about that. 64-bit support on Windows is complete. All of the changeover has been done. However, in this massive conversion between 32-bit to 64-bit, Jason Knipe, a programmer on Neverwinter Nights, discovered that, hey, you know what? Mac and Linux handle pointers in a very different way from Windows, so that blew up a whole bunch of issues. So right now we're working through a bunch of problems on Mac and Linux. The deal with 64-bit is that it's going to live in the dev branch for a while because we need you guys to test it, because this is a staggeringly large change to the underlying structure of the engine. And who knows how many things it will break. So 64-bit will be off in a little branch for some time, probably at least a month or so, as we stabilize and normalize it. And then it'll get switched over to the main line, and everyone will be 64-bit, and you don't have to worry about addressing more than 16 gigs of memory.
And
wait,
the world
no, what was
be
the
a better place.
What was the 32-bit limit? Is it 8 gigs or 16 gigs? Somebody yell. Somebody.
4.
There you go.
3.5.
More portraits.
Yes.
Put more portraits in the game, Lee.
Okay.
Done. All right.
So in the next dev build, you'll see the Rhodes 2.0 winners, the portraits that we did back then. So there's 3 of those there. We've got a portrait from Dave Gator, or of Dave Gator, that I'd love to throw in there. So I'm working on that right now. We'll have more in the future as we do these community portrait contests. So sign up for our newsletter so you can get in the game.
You know what we should do? Do you remember in the Harry Potter movies the painted portraits of the people, and they would like move and be like, "What's up?" We should do that. We should change all of the avatars, the portraits, into little WebMs or videos, and it'll just play on a loop in the corner, and it'll be like swoops his hair back, and you got the Fabio wind coming through.
And then we'll attach that to your webcam so that you can have facial
expressions. Oh
expressions.
man, we'll get the Apple Animojis. You could be a cartoon cat.
Or a poop.
I'm a level 6 emoji ghost. What's up?
This is horrible. We should never do that.
Question. Do a Beamdog Collector's Edition of Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights. Okay.
Sure. Maybe.
If we can.
Possibly.
You know, I've always wanted to do the Infinity Engine battle chest of like BG, Dragon Spear BG2, Planescape, Icewind 1 and 2. But the one missing element of that is, of course, Icewind Dale 2. Because we can't get the damn source code, so we can't do the enhanced edition.
That's right.
I think we've mentioned on previous streams that we've had some leads towards getting the source code, but unfortunately they haven't worked out so far.
Not yet.
I at this point, I'm starting to doubt that the source code even exists anymore. I have a feeling that it was just tossed in some gully somewhere as people were getting rid of old hard drives. So,
well, you never know.
I'd be very happy to be wrong. You know, I'd love to have it, but we need that source because the cost of recreating everything about that game from scratch is too expensive to justify the cost of making it.
What we're hoping for is that somebody's going to discover it in their garage in the same way that that StarCraft's source code was.
Was that how they found it?
It's either that or an eBay.
Was it the art assets or the source code that
source
they?
Code. He
'Cause I
found
thought-
like a gold master disc.
I thought they had the source because I remember they patched StarCraft in like the mid 2000s to
Well,
add.
they had it, but somebody external to Blizzard found.
Oh.
Yeah, they found it on like a gold master disc that was just in like some sort of eBay disc collection or whatever.
I'd love to see the StarCraft source code one day because I hear a lot of it was written in assembly, but because they needed to squeeze out a crap ton of performance. I remember that game ran reasonably well on my Pentium 60 with like a childish amount of RAM. Anyways, moving on. We should, if some enterprising individual within the Beamdog office could run into my desk and grab the Samsung Galaxy S8, I can show you the build of Neverwinter on Android.
All right, so before we do that, or while we entertain these people, while a phone.
Sorry, by the way.
Is there anything else you want to go over on the Trello page?
Yeah, we got some housekeeping stuff here. So update STL. That's a pretty straightforward one. Open the premium modules up for module editing / building. This is something that I'd like to do in the near future here. Another thing that we're looking at that's kind of related to this is right now in the editor, it packages everything up into a .mod file, which isn't super great for version control. So what we'd love to do is have mods just be a flat folder file structure. And optionally, of course, because eventually you do need to package it up. And that'll play a little bit nicer with like SVN or GitHub. So we'll look into that in the near future. NW script play movie function for custom content. We can absolutely look into that. Let's look at the long-term active over 3 months here.
All right.
Bring Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition to mobile devices like Android and iOS and consoles. Okay.
All right.
Let's. I'll let you do it here.
Oh, this is
not too
fun.
close. This is my
This is
development UI.
Yep. So
right now,
development UI.
it
this
looks
is not final.
basically like Neverwinter Nights on a phone. That's not terribly exciting. What's the deal? How come you're? What's special about this?
Come on, that's pretty exciting.
But I'll tell you what's special about it if the hand of Andrew will give it back to me so I can paw at it. Thank you.
That's basically what he does all day.
So you see this little, come on, actually that's good. You see this little dot here? Oh, that's a joystick. So what we've done is we've added direct analog input to Neverwinter Nights so that you can control it with a controller or with a on-screen D-pad in this case. Why did I do this? Why did you take Neverwinter Nights and turn it into some sort of arcade game nonsense where you control the... Because that's the only realistic way to control this thing on a phone or a tablet even. We had the, or we still have the just normal Neverwinter Nights UI running on a phone, and it works completely fine. The downside is that tapping into the world to interact with things isn't pleasant, and it doesn't really work that well with Neverwinter Nights. In the case of like Baldur's Gate, hey, that makes total sense. You're controlling an entire party. You're constantly trying to give tactical commands. But in Neverwinter Nights, you control a single character. So that was my rationale for that. It feels fantastic. It's a lot of fun. I'll let you drive around if you desire. The other side of this, however, is how do I interact with people, with individuals? Because right now in Neverwinter Nights, I have to reach into the world and click on them. So we were adding a context-sensitive button. Again, this is aimed at mobile.
It's my favorite character, Pavel.
Hey, look at that. Hey, have you noticed the font is larger? What's up with that? You can actually read things on your phone. Crazy. So yeah, a context button is essentially when I'm near something and I press this button, interact with the thing that I am near. So it essentially, it casts out a cone and it picks up the closest interactable object. And the default action that it'll pick is if I were to left click on that object, what would I do? So if you're standing next to a chest, you hit context, you open the chest. Very straightforward. Millions of games do this. This is very, very common. But these are critical additions that we have to make to Neverwinter Nights to make it play well on mobile. A key thing to keep in mind is that all of the features of the desktop version should still be available in the mobile version. So while we are having to streamline and reduce the scope of the UI, that's just burying it in menus. All of the stuff that you can do is still there. Even the radial is still working right now. For the rest of the UI itself, I believe we've talked about working with some external partners to develop a new UI. And that's something that we're doing right now. So you can see Neverwinter Nights, that's just the classic UI as is. We made some minor adjustments to make it function on a phone, but we're working on a more serious overhaul of that UI.
Right. So that's some pretty cool stuff there. I like that you've removed the developer pink. So if you don't know what developer pink is, it's basically anything that's not a final-ish asset is just painted pink. So you'll be running through the game and the sky is a brilliant chartreuse.
So speaking to some of the issues that we'll run into right away with the mobile version. So for example, persistent worlds. Hey, fantastic. I can connect to whatever persistent world I want and have a fantastic time on my phone. But how do I talk to people, Lee? How do I talk to them?
Well, I frequently ask why you're talking to me.
That's true. That's true.
How?
Well, first off, voice over IP will not be shipping with the game. If there's a huge demand for it, we can look into it, but that's a major, major, major feature to add. The nice thing about mobile OSs these days, both iOS and Android, is that they do have built-in voice to text. So worst case scenario, you can tap the chat bubble and say, hey, Jim, what's going on? It'll transcribe it for you and off you go. Obviously, that's not the greatest solution in the world. We'll work on making the keyboard as good as it can be. But one of the reasons that I asked the community what kind of emotes do you want was specifically around this problem. More emotes mean more depth of communication that you can do without having to type. And that is going to be kind of critical for mobile. So I'd like to add some more commonly or needed emotes.
You know what we should do? We should just partner with the Emoji Movie 2. Anything that's in Emoji Movie 2 is going to be in Neverwinter Nights.
You're blowing my mind here, Lee.
Well, yeah, it's the best possible way that you could ever meet
Listen to
Patrick
this guy.
Stewart.
Listen to this guy.
Just, come on.
All the nonsense.
The lies.
So back to Trello. Now that we've shown off Android, you saw the larger font there. That's TrueType font support, and that ties into our new scaling system. So right now, the scaling system in the shipping desktop version is locked to like 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe, and the font just gets scaled up in a pretty awful way. TTF support means that we can get better fonts, and they'll scale nicer.
And a couple of other localizations.
That's right. It's a lot easier to do localizations that have weird diacritics on their letters. Sorry, foreign languages that are English, but you got weird, like, bzz, 2 dots. What is this umlaut? Come on, Germany. I'm sorry. That was mean. I'm sorry, Germany. That was rude of me.
That was rude.
Anyways.
We have at least one person from Germany in this audience.
So because we have the proper TrueType scaling, we can do more arbitrary levels of scaling. So right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'd like to do is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, so you have finer control. This is going to be really, really critical going forward for mobile because a lot of these devices have extremely small screens with extremely high DPI. So you need that fine control because Android is quite literally the new Windows, but it's the Windows of the 90s when everything was different and broken and awful. So it's going to be it's going to have a lot of configuration options to make sure that your device runs well.
So there's a request here for Deacon's voice for text-to-speech. I think we'll do you one better. We'll replace Siri's voice with Deacon's.
I want a Sespinar voice. No one on Earth agrees with me that Sespinar was adorable and a lot of fun. And I don't. Maybe I just hit Sespinar at the right moment in time, but I was like, well, that's just adorable. This is a little dragon with a lisp. That's cute.
Not true. I think Julius likes it.
Okay, Julius, it's you and me, man. We're the only people on Earth who think Sespinar is adorable and deserving of his own spin-off game with Deacon.
Maybe crossover with Spyro the Dragon.
Oh man! And then I get to work with Paul and Fred. I'd be so excited.
Man.
And these are the guys that made Star Control 2.
Nothing here is true.
Why do people watch this show? Like, why? I'm just the worst host. Waste your time.
Come for the t-shirts.
That's true.
And
Speaking of that,
one more t-shirt,
yeah,
but towards the end of the stream.
All right, we'll wait. Question from the audience: how is the work with increasing the resource limit for Neverwinter Nights coming along? I have a feeling that's tied pretty severely into the 64-bit stuff. So look forward to the 64-bit branch coming and raising some resource limits for you.
Cool.
Question from the audience: is the lighting system being updated in any way in Neverwinter Nights? Ooh, yeah. So this is a point of serious discussion at the office right now, actually. We've been coming up with meetings and plans and ways to do this. So not next week, but the week after. We've got a whole day set aside where we're grabbing the entire programming team, locking them in a room and saying, make light better. We have a pitch and a proposal for what we could do with the lighting model. But essentially, it's if we add feature X, Y, and Z and generate data C, B, and F, we could bring the visuals up to this without really changing the base assets that much. So we're looking into how can we do that because, for instance, casting dynamic shadows, super cool. I guess not casting dynamic shadows, but shadow map support. Super cool, but that's like a 3-month feature to add. So we need to determine, is there a quicker way to do that? Is there a cheaper way to do that? Do we need to do that? Is there another target that makes more sense? So there's actual work going on in the lighting engine right now. And yeah. All right. Should we give away another shirt, or are you still wanting to hold off on that?
I'm going to make him hold off. Hunger is the best sauce, right? So here's a question from the audience. What's the progress on uploading Steam resources to the Vault with documentation?
The new assets and stuff like that. And brief aside on that front, we have a new Kukri and Rapier models in the Steam Workshop for new HD weapons.
Yeah, we mentioned that last stream, but you should still go check it out. Subscribe, like, comment, YouTube ending.
We have a gentleman named Mike Spalding coming in to work at Beamdog next month.
Oh, that's been confirmed.
Yes, he's joining us in September. And he's going to be coordinating a lot of our art, whatnot. And I think that's going to be one of his tasks is pushing out documentation to the community and being sort of the point of contact for all things Neverwinter technical art.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him on the team. When he came by, he was super knowledgeable. He has a lot of really cool plans. I'm really excited to have him around.
I think that he's going to do wonderful things for the Neverwinter pipeline.
And he used to work with Trent.
That's right. He's an ex-BioWare guy from way back in the day.
An ex-BioWare person here at Beamdog?
Unheard of.
Shock.
I think I'm the only person here, well, I guess you as well, that hasn't worked at BioWare.
I think there's 4 of us.
Fair enough.
4. I'm going to say 4. All right.
Question from the audience. How is the progression of the translation for Baldur's Gate Dragonspear into German? That's a good question that I do not have an answer for right now. As I understand it, there is a German fan translation team operating on it right now, but the progress is unclear to me because I do not speak German. However, Phillip Fletchner, our awesome and very handy localization coordinator, is handling all that stuff, so I'm sure he can chime in and let us know what's going on there.
And if you ever want to get involved with translating yourself, pop on to translates.baldursgate.com. And you can take a look at joining teams, sort of a general status, which isn't super accurate, but...
Well, it's hard to gauge how far along a language is because it's like, here's all the English words and here's all the foreign language words, and if they match up, then that means 100%, right? Yep. Except it's not a one-to-one conversion between languages. And as well, there's issues with like, a lot of languages have masculine and feminine verbs and nouns and whatnot. So that's another huge challenge. Although it's been solved, like we support those languages, we have all the pipelines figured out. We just need people to translate the text. So head over to the Beamdog forums and translate.baldursgate.com, and you can get involved with the translation effort. A lot of amazing languages have come out of the translation site. So, for example, Baldur's Gate was never available in Turkish ever. It is, in fact, D&D was never available in Turkish. There was no official translation. There was no attempts at it, anything like that. And so there is this fan community in Turkey who desperately wanted to translate the game into Turkish, and they did. But in the process of doing this, they had to invent all these D&D terms that they had no words for. So like they're coming up with like, here's the Turkish version of drow, here's the Turkish version of like, what's a D&D specific word, beholder or something like that, right? Like they had to come up with their translation for all this stuff. And they did a fantastic job. They got the game done, and it's now available in Turkish for people who could never experience it before. And as a sweet bonus, Wizards of the Coast actually adopted a lot of the terms that they came up with, so that they could, bring the game officially to Turkey.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's really, really cool that not only do fans get to experience a game that they never got to experience and couldn't experience in the past, but it's kind of a community building tool that I'm really happy to see amazing things come out of.
So I think the next question we're going to get about localization, Neverwinter Nights. When will fans be able to do their translations?
So we're actually working on that right now as well. Ryan, our website guy, is looking at the Translate site to see how he can get the Neverwinter Nights TLKs up there so that you can translate them the same way that you can with Infinity Engine stuff. The work is largely done. Now we just need to figure out how to roll it out and if we're going to do any sort of like nice formatting for... What's the word I'm looking for here? Nested dialogue. That probably won't be in the first version, but it's something that I'd like to work towards in the future, is get nested dialogue support in Neverwinter into the Translate tool. It's not trivial, and I know that Scott is probably screaming at me to shut up, but it's something I'd like to do. If we do get it for Neverwinter Nights, it's a feature that I'd like to backport to the Infinity Engine stuff, because right now it's an absolute nightmare to... use certain aspects of it, because you have to, if you want to see a line in context in the Infinity Engine, so it's like this is a reply to this, you have to load up the talk table in a different file or a different program. So the data to show the text in context exists. It's just that that data isn't being used by the Translate site, and building that is going to be a fair amount of work. That seems to be the recurring theme with all of my answers is, yes, that can happen, but it will take time and it is a large amount of work.
Right.
So if you ever want to know, can this feature be implemented? In the physical realm that we inhabit, yes, literally anything software related is possible. In the practical realm that we inhabit, it takes time and is very difficult.
And is frequently quite expensive.
Yes.
So sometimes we can do things, sometimes we can't. Luckily, I'm actually pretty surprised about everything that Beamdog has done with the enhanced editions. I didn't know about the enhanced editions until about a year or two before I joined the company, and I was just blown away because I played these games back in high school, and I came back to them and like, holy shit, there's a lot going on here, and it works. My computer, which is dead now, I should fix that, but yeah.
Someone for the audience says, there's no Turkish word for drow, it's just drow.
All right.
Well, then that's what they chose.
All right, here's another question about Neverwinter Nights. Will Beamdog be raising the level cap for that game? Also, you've camel cased Beamdog. That's incorrect. Incorrect branding, sir.
Raising the level caps. Right now the level cap's at 40, which in 3rd edition D&D is stupidly high. That's like demigod territory. You can't really go a lot higher than that in terms of level. It starts to become more about the abilities that you have access to, and god level abilities are real hard to implement in a video game. I'm not planning on raising the level cap in Neverwinter Nights. I'm planning on adding different things to Neverwinter Nights, but raising the level cap is kind of low on my list of things that we could add to the game that expand the gameplay rather than just, hey, you can make numbers go higher now. I'd like to see new mechanics at play and stuff like that before raising level caps or anything.
And here's going back to the Icewind Dale question. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Icewind Dale 2. How can the source code for the game be lost? Couldn't you just hack a normal version of Icewind Dale 2 and get the code?
Decompile Icewind Dale and just pull out the code. So decompiling is in fact a thing that you can do, but it isn't. If you write a program, source code, you compile it, and then you decompile it, the decompiled source and the source that you wrote are not the same. It's the decompiler saying, I think this is how they did it, but I don't know for sure. So we couldn't actually just get the source that way. In terms of looking at, so there's two aspects to the Infinity Engine. Well, yeah, let's call it two aspects. There's the code and the program, and then there's the content of the game. That's the graphics, that's the art, that's the scripting, that's how the rules work, that's all the stuff that makes the data-driven stuff. So the problem is that we have the data. We can pull that out of the game, absolutely. We can grab that stuff. And in fact, that's how we would approach it because the original assets were lost. We would just be taking the game data and then making it work with the program. The problem is that that data needs the program to work in a specific way, and we need the source code to know that specific way. You can reverse engineer how it works, how you thought it worked, by just looking at the data, looking at the original game and thinking, okay, the content says this, the game is doing this, therefore the program needs to do this. That's an extremely expensive and slow-going process that would make Icewind Dale 2 cost more than a new game would cost, which is kind of the big problem that we face by not having the source code. Now, speaking to how can source code just get lost, a lot of ways can occur. For example, Baldur's Gate, the source code wasn't lost, but the assets were. So that's all the 3D models, all of the original environment models, that sort of thing. What happened there? Well, there was an archive hard drive that had all of the data on it. There were archive data tapes that had all of the data on it. Unfortunately, where those data tapes were stored was not ideal, and that garage flooded, and those tapes were destroyed.
Yep.
And the hard drives that had all the content were disconnected long ago, and they had been severely corrupted. So we were able to pull some data off of them, but like a lot of it was just trash. For example, do you guys remember from Baldur's Gate 2, there's that piece of art with, I believe Mike Sass did this one, and he's sitting in his little chair, and he's got the globe, and Elazim is inside of it, and he's just sort of brooding or whatever.
Some Steam trading card stuff.
Yeah, so I actually found the original source PSD for that, the one that a digital artist had been drawing in directly. The problem is that it had been severely corrupted. There was color banding across the whole thing, and we couldn't recover it. The data was just screwed up.
I found that with a lot of the Neverwinter Nights assets.
Yeah. So data rot from bad hard drives, misplaced or damaged data tapes. In the case of a company that I won't name that starts with a B, they were purchased by a parent company, and the parent company said, hey, give us all of your archives because we're storing them in our main archive. You give up all your stuff to me, and I'm going to store it safely over here. However, safely over here was, oh, it's a garage and it's flooded now. I'm conflating two stories here, but yeah, the data was taken and not treated as well as it should have been.
You know, the last company I worked at, we had, I did social mobile games, I'm sorry. We had this one game which had, you know, a small number of users, players who just liked they love that game, right? And nobody in the company knew where the server was. Nobody knew where the files were. Nobody knew anything about this. We couldn't touch the game. And it wasn't until we moved head offices that somebody was going through a closet and they found a little server running at the very bottom. It was covered in dust, it like caked in dust. Nobody knew what it was until we unplugged it, and then the community went down. "Rah! What happened to our game?" So that's game dev for you.
Those are my favorite IT stories about, like, yeah, we moved the floor and discovered an ancient Apple II print server that's still running to this day. All right, we're running out of time here, so we're going to go away another shirt.
Yep. Ilias Math. Thank you for the phonetic pronunciation. Ilias Math.
Nice.
You've got a shirt.
Ilias Math. Ilias Math? Ilias Math. Ilias Math. I like it. It's a new kind of math.
Mathlete. You have won a shirt. Congratulations.
All right, so we're going to close out here. Very briefly, if you guys were watching the Colbert Report recently, Late Night with Stephen Colbert,
Yep.
Joe Manganiello was on there, and he was talking about D&D. He rolled a 20 on camera. I wonder how many takes that took. The audience is just like, I'm so sick of waiting.
20.
Oh, he finally got it. Yeah. No, I'll be nice and assume that it was luck and he got it in his first throw.
And that was to promote Death Saves, the new D&D product line.
That's right. That's right.
It's very Dragonlance. I love it. He's going just absolutely bonkers with Lord Soth.
It's very, very cool. Other than that, we updated the erebus model in the Steam Workshop to not conflict with the enhanced weapon models. There are new weapon models. The Kukri and Rapier sets are available in the Steam Workshop, and we're going to be throwing a zip file on the Beamdog site so that if you don't have it on Steam, you can grab it. GOG is coming in the near future. Galaxy support is in. We're testing it, tying up a few loose ends. And NW Sync is coming in the near future, and that's going to be a big change.
Yep.
Lots of exciting things happening to Neverwinter in the future, and stay tuned. We'll see you next Friday.
Yep. Sign up for the newsletter.
Hold on. Somebody's calling me here. I'm going to call him back. Just give me a second here, folks.
Yeah. It's Trent. Oh, God. No, it's Steve. Hey, Steve.
Pick up. Pick up the damn phone. I know you're watching.
There's a 5-second delay.
Stop calling me Steve. Okay, bye.